Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Dads of Dagobah. We're breaking down Season 4 of Stranger Things. Sean, what'd you think?
Well, let's just say that after that episode, I was feeling a little upside down, if you know what I mean.
We're just joking with you guys. We're talking about Obi-Wan, parts 1 and 2. Not chapters, parts.
That's right, and I haven't seen Stranger Things, so that was about as much analysis as I could have given on that.
We have the ups, we have the downs, we have the what we liked, what we didn't like of the first 2 episodes. We're not going to do, it's a combined Dads of Dagobah today. We're going to do 2 episodes today, talking about everything from Tatooine. Oh, I guess from Coruscant to Tatooine to Alderaan to Devon. Is that the name of the last planet?
Isn't it Daiyu?
Daiyu. That's it. Wasn't even close. Oh, Devon's the name of the monster in Stranger Things. Okay, Sean, right off the bat, what'd you think?
Well, what did I think? I thought that it was, in a word, exceptional, Joseph. I think it's great. When we talked last, we talked about how we desperately needed this to be a good show.
It has to be.
It has to be. And while I think the first 2 episodes have been mostly build up, they've been teasing us. They've been teasing us with maybe some epic things happening, and nothing quite that epic has happened yet. And yet, almost solely because of Ewan McGregor's performance, obviously, like the emotional weight of so many moments is carrying the show without having to have epic, huge action sequences or lightsaber battles or anything like that. Even though obviously we anticipate that we will get those later in this series. I've been okay with. Oh, we have to, exactly. But I thoroughly enjoyed the first 2 episodes. I liked that we were not given the Book of Boba Fett / Mandalorian, well, not Mandalorian, but Book of Boba Fett treatment, where it was just slow-paced Tatooine plot, and we were on Tatooine. What was happening on Tatooine was necessary, but we got to break it up a little bit. We're not just stuck on Tatooine.
Yeah. I agree. I thought the first 2 episodes were great. I'm glad we got 2 episodes. I'll be honest, kind of the WandaVision treatment. They knew one episode. I think the first episode would have been a little bit more disappointing had we not had a second one right after it, right? And so to have 2 episodes, especially with that ending of the second one, I think was a solid entry into the Obi-Wan series. We have 4 episodes left, and I think there's a whole lot more that we're going to be seeing. Let's start from the beginning. We start off with, before we even get to Coruscant, we have a recap. It was interesting to me with this recap, what they chose to show. Like, they chose to show, obviously, a lot of the Anakin Obi-Wan relationship, which, I think we know that we're going to see Anakin. Obviously, we did see Anakin at the very, very end. We're going to see more of him. But then also, they talked about, Qui-Gon. And they talked about Bail Organa. And not knowing that Leia was going to be in this, we wouldn't have been like, oh, yeah. For the casual fan, they would have been confused as to, oh, what planet is this? Or who is this girl? Oh, yeah, that's right. It's Leia. And also, what they didn't show was any of the Clone Wars stuff. They didn't show any Clone Wars things. So I thought that was interesting. They kind of stuck with the live action, but kind of got my tears coming a little bit. That little entry, just to get a wetter whistle.
I know that a lot of things happened in the animated shows to flesh out the relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin, but it made sense to keep it live action because you almost could. Yeah, it's a live action show and it's these actors. And so it's showing a continuation of where the interpretation that these actors had for these characters.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But I agree with you. I like the little intro, and I noticed the same thing. A lot of focus on Qui-Gon and Qui-Gon wanting him to train Anakin, and then Yoda, obviously. Why would you put in there the line from Yoda talking about, I'm going to teach you how to commune with Qui-Gon, if we don't get a Liam Neeson cameo at this point as Force Ghost Qui-Gon?
Oh, I think it's necessary. I think it's absolutely necessary.
Then it makes no sense that they would make a creative decision like that and make us focus in this little montage so much on Qui-Gon.
Mm-hmm.
So we after that intro, we start off right off the bat on Coruscant, the Jedi Temple, watching some younglings training. It seems like a peaceful night. Some nice, views of Coruscant as they're just going through a nice little, looking like some sort of meditation, yoga, something going on, and then bam! The clones, baby. The clones are attacking. Order 66 is being executed. And I don't know who that Jedi, I don't know if it was a Jedi Master or just a Jedi Knight, an instructor. I don't know who that was. But she had some pretty sweet moves. Where she was like really jumping and really hitting those, deflecting those laser bolts back at the clones. And I was sitting there waiting to see Grogu in the corner. Like, where's Grogu at?
Too. I'm like, oh, this is the Grogu scene. This is the Grogu scene right here.
Right in that hallway, it was like, this is the exact frame of what the Grogu scene looked like from Book of Boba Fett. So I'm like, is Grogu here? Are we going to get Grogu in the Obi-Wan show? But we did not. And I know that I've heard before sometimes people talking about like how many more times can they show us a different version of Order 66, but I'm never upset about it. I feel like I'm like, oh yeah, let's see Order 66. Every show needs to incorporate a flashback of Order 66 in it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna have to stop you, Sean. Someone's calling me upstairs. Hold on.
Okay. Well, everybody, this is my chance to really go solo on this podcast. And I just want you to know, I know you all saw it. Joseph, the huge J.J. Abrams fan that he is, really hardcore into the lens flare happening behind his head, the little light lens flare. Like he's got a little halo. Like he's my little Star Wars podcast angel. Just glowing. Angelic. Yeah. Oh, I wasn't talking. Between you and me, rewind the video and check out his lens flare work.
Here's the thing with that scene with the younglings. Very cool. Very interesting. It's just kind of cool to see the rest of the Jedi Temple. There's a little bit in the deleted scenes of Episode 3, and I guess we see a little bit now in Mandalorian or Book of Boba Fett. So it's interesting to see kind of more of the main chamber, I guess, of the Jedi Temple. What I think is interesting, though, I think Revan is one of those Padawans.
Who?
Revan, the third sister.
Oh. Is that her name?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize. I didn't pick up on that. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, that's just my theory. Why would they show that to us,
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I thought that, it was a good opportunity for them to have some bold creative choices and show, Anakin just slicing through people again, but we didn't get any Anakin. We didn't get a Hayden Christensen cameo in the Jedi Temple Order 66. Because basically this whole show for me because I already know it's going to be great and Ewan's great. I'm like hyper focused on trying to find all these Easter eggs. I want all the cameos. I want all the Easter eggs. And so I was like, are they going to, off the bat, show us Hayden Christensen coming through this Jedi temple, like with a different angle and a different footage than we got in the prequel movies?
That would have been sweet.
But it didn't happen.
They can't give us Hayden Christensen that way, right? They got to give us Darth Vader first.
That's true.
Okay. I guess he is Darth Vader there.
Fair enough.
Then we move straight to Tatooine.
We're on Tatooine.
And we meet the Inquisitors right away.
Now, let me ask you this. As we get the Obi-Wan Kenobi logo, how did you have any thoughts on the new John Williams theme?
Is that him?
Yes.
Is that his Obi-Wan theme?
Yes.
Great. Love it. I didn't know that was his. I knew he was writing one.
I don't know what I was expecting. I'll tell you this. I don't know what I was expecting. But it isn't as instantly recognizable as I thought it would be. Like if I,
You're saying John Williams is off his game? He's only like 97 years old. Give the man a break.
I'm just saying that, Rey's theme.
Hot take here. Sean hates John Williams.
I just don't know if it's his best work. And I am mostly salty because I sent in a demo tape of my suggestion for a little mixtape that I composed for the theme. And they didn't take it. They did not take it under consideration. No, I wanted it to be like a Rey's theme from Force Awakens, or like a theme that when you hear it, you instantly are like, know what it is. And I'm still trying to get you. I like the score and I feel like it's been good, but I'm like, what's like the iconic melody?
What's the motif?
Be like Obi-Wan's theme.
Yep, I hear you.
But anyway, I digress. Yeah, so we're on Tatooine.
We are nitpicking today.
We're in the Inquisitors here, and I don't mind the Grand Inquisitor look. I know there was a lot of critique about it, although I do feel like his costume didn't fit very well. He looked like the costume was too big, and he looked kind of goofy when he was walking, I thought. That's just me personally, Mr. Grand Inquisitor. But we move on, and we get this saloon scene. And when we get the saloon scene, I realized, okay, the leaks were 100% accurate here. Because wasn't that part of the leaks that we were reading about there's another Jedi that's not Obi-Wan, and he's in the saloon, and they have to flush him out and all this kind of stuff. So I was like, I guess we're getting what we already read on Reddit.
Can I just say right here from the get-go about the Inquisitors, I don't understand this dynamic between the three of them. Is she being chastened because she's being too evil? Am I reading that right?
I think she's being chastened because she's insubordinate.
Well, because she's... I don't understand. They're like, she's like trying to draw truth out of people, right? And they're like, quit it. You can't do that. And I'm like, what? This is like the opposite of the Empire.
See, that's a good question I hadn't really thought about yet, because like Palpatine, even though he's evil and he's a Sith, like during the prequels, he's not like going out and with no purpose, like being cruel. He's not unnecessarily cruel. He's only cruel and evil when it's like to advance his goal.
Okay.
So I feel like he's not just going out into the populace and like maiming people or murdering people, right?
That's what the stormtroopers do. It's what the Empire does in all the shows.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Can't argue there. But I think part of it was too the Grand Inquisitor, I think, believes that his method is like sufficient and like he knows how to do this. that he doesn't have to do that stuff for
Oh,
it to like work, and she's just like so brash and so reckless and trying to speed up the process. And he's talking about how the key to hunting the Jedi is patience, because the Jedi will hunt himself. And so I think it's more of a clash of philosophy, that he's like, he's not feeling compassion towards the people, but he's like, this is how we do it. This is how I do it. And you don't have to be reckless. Like, you can be in control and like manipulate the situation. Um, but I felt, obviously too, there's this dynamic of both of the Inquisitor and the other male Inquisitor, the Grand One and the brother, I don't know what number he is, both kind of alluded to her that like Kenobi is not hers to find. Like, Kenobi is Vader's. Like, they've been looking for him for 10 years, but really, like, that's Vader's fight.
don't they think also? Did you get the sense that they think Kenobi's not even around?
Yeah.
He's long gone.
Yeah, I think so.
Did you get a little sense of an Obi-Wan Anakin relationship between the Grand Inquisitor and the third sister, where she's being a little, tries to know what she thinks she knows everything, trying to do what she wants to do, and he's having to say, "Now, patience, young Padawan."
That's
kind
actually
of the vibe I got.
That's a great insight. I think it absolutely mirrors that relationship. For
Until
sure.
she stabs him. Then there goes that analogy.
Yeah, because how does the Grand Inquisitor die in Rebels?
Oh.
And isn't this happening before Rebels?
Yeah, he's not dead. He's not dead. Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember how he dies in Rebels. Does Thrawn kill him? No.
No, I think it's the finale of season 1, and it's like a ship blows up or something. I don't know.
That's right. Yeah. Anyway, then we so I mean, that scene was one more complaint about that scene. How easy is it to get that Jedi past him?
Yeah.
She's got a lightsaber up against him. He pulls her away.
Well, they don't want to kill him, or at least the Grand Inquisitor
doesn't
want to kill him. They want to interrogate him. They want to interrogate him. So, I mean, I feel like they weren't trying to stop him in the sense of, cut him down. They wanted him alive. That's the only real explanation in my mind.
Yeah. Okay, next scene, we're going to a crate dragon butcher shop, it seems.
Was that a crate dragon? I couldn't really tell.
I think it's got to be. It
looked
like
a big stingray type.
Yeah, it didn't really have the crate look to it. But the fact that they're harvesting the meat, I'm like, well, they've set up that's pretty valuable on Tatooine.
Yeah. Also, I was like, how long is that meat going to be viable?
I know.
I think that means we're in the middle of the Dune Sea out here. That's not rotting under the twin suns. Like, Obi-Wan just comes back every Monday, Wednesday, Friday to cut up a little bit more. I'm like, how long is this staying fresh?
A lot of the scenes on Tatooine with Obi-Wan in this first episode reminded me a lot of Luke on Ahch-To, where it's just like, I know your routine. You are not busy. Like,
yeah, daily routine.
You're not doing a lot.
Mundane, daily routine type stuff.
Yep. Watching over Luke, getting him a little toy T1 Starhopper thing.
But it's a good juxtaposition at the end of when he's, clocking out, and the guy in front of him is like, hey, we're not getting, he gets the Rey treatment and only gets the half a portion, whatever, when it was supposed to be more money. And we had just gotten the Inquisitor talking about patience, and the Jedi, the code, they can't help it. They're going to help and draw attention to themselves. And we see Obi-Wan's success in staying hidden is that he
has to ignore it.
He ignores it. He won't, he recognizes that he probably could intervene and do something about it. And but there's a higher mission at hand here to, be a steward over Luke and watch over Luke. And so he's like, I can't do it. I can't sacrifice that for this singular interaction.
Yeah. We go back to his cave. We have a little scene with Trika, little Jawa.
The little Jawa. That was funny.
Yeah. If you're going to steal things from me, so at least clean them. Cleaning costs extra.
Yeah.
Looks like he buys the Star Hopper toy, gives it to Luke.
Which is the toy we see in A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
Which, that's the type of stuff, the connective tissue, that it is nice to see, that you're like, oh, that's awesome. Obi-Wan gave him that toy.
Yep. And then he learns that there's a Jedi. He later encounters that Jedi at night. And I think the most important thing he says there is, the war's over, we lost, right? Like, what are we fighting for?
Yeah, very much Last Jedi Luke vibes. The time of the Jedi is over.
Mm-hmm. And then everyone's obsession is burying lightsabers on Tatooine. Rey did it. Rey did it to the same lightsaber too, right?
Well, Rey did it because she's a Kenobi. She's a descendant of
That's
Obi-Wan
what I'm saying.
Kenobi.
No, let's retcon it. Now she's a Kenobi. Doing the Jedi mind. Remember after episode 7, we're like, she's a Kenobi. She's doing Jedi mind tricks just like Kenobi. Well, now she's burying lightsabers in the sand, just like Kenobi.
We are going to see in this series Kenobi get down and dirty with a Palpatine clone daughter who's going to have a son who's Rey's father. That's how this is going to work out. So technically she's a Kenobi and a Palpatine.
There we go. Canon.
Yes. So I don't know what that other Jedi's name even is. Sorry, my man. I know he only lasted one episode, but he served his purpose in helping us see that Obi-Wan, he's let that part of his life go.
Mm-hmm.
He's over it.
Yep, he's all about Luke.
But here's the thing, is that we later see, I know that somewhere in here, I don't remember exactly the timeline we head to Alderaan, but just a few more of the Tatooine things. Later in the episode, when we get the the Uncle Owen and Obi-Wan interaction, and Obi-Wan's doing the line about, we talked about this, when the time's right, he must be trained. I'm like, well, so you don't think the time of the Jedi is over then? Really? If you think you're training Luke?
True.
And so I'm like, what's his plan for doing that without drawing attention? But I don't know. It doesn't really matter, because Uncle Owen's like, ain't no way that's happening on my moisture farm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Crazy old Ben Kenobi. But before that, I think, is when we go to Alderaan the first time, right?
Yeah, it's true.
Welcome back, everybody. You may notice this brief transition. We are in new clothes with new backgrounds. We did not have the best setup on Friday evening to try to record this, so we are back at it with a second take. We're going to pick up where we left off, which is part 1 of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. We're talking about transitioning from Tatooine to Alderaan and what we see.
We've had 2 more days to digest these first 2 episodes.
And I've watched both of them now another time.
Oh.
Because I watched it originally by myself, and then I watched it with my family.
Here's the thing. Leia as a little girl, fantastic. Amazing. Superb. The actress seems really fun. Love every minute of it. Except for the chase scene. We'll get to the chase scene.
Dare you?
I think everyone hates the chase scene, Sean.
How dare you criticize that child actor after what happened to Jake Lloyd? How dare you?
It wasn't her. It wasn't her. Um, I think we've talked about for years a desire to go to Alderaan, and we are finally there, and it's pretty sweet. It's pretty cool. They have highways. It looks like interstates that go through the city, but unless you're royalty, in which case you can float over them. So there's that.
What I will say about the actress who plays Leia is I think she did a superb job. I think her attitude was very Leia-esque.
Yes.
And so it felt like the attitude that a 10-year-old Leia would have. My only critique has nothing to do with the actress, but with the casting director, which is I felt like that wonderful actress looked like she was 6 years old.
Oh, little Jake Lloyd, huh?
No, I just didn't. I was like, are we supposed to think that she's 10? She seemed very young.
Yeah, she doesn't act like a 10-year-old.
Now, I looked up the actress's age, and she was like, I think she was 8 maybe when they filmed it. 8 or 9. So, I mean, it was close enough, but I told my wife, I'm like, she seems almost like a 6-year-old to me in some of the scenes with how tiny she is. And just, I'm like, that was the only thing. It wasn't a critique of her performance or anything. I thought everything was wonderful.
You just think it should have been a totally different kid. That's what you're saying.
It was hard for me to believe that she was 10.
Okay.
That's the only thing.
I mean, how many people realize that number, realize she's supposed to be 10? I mean, they did give us a 10 years. Okay, well, they did give us a 10 years later title.
And in episode 2, Obi-Wan asks her how old she is, and she says 10. And he says, you don't sound like a 10-year-old.
You're right.
But it wasn't it was whatever.
We'll get to that too, because there's something else that happens in episode 4 of Star Wars that seems to contradict this whole thing about Leia and Obi-Wan in the first place.
Okay. So Alderaan, I agree with you. I liked it. I liked seeing the culture there. So she's dealing with her own drama, family drama of her cousins, bullying her.
Yeah, telling her she's not a true Organa.
Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I also
handles it well.
I liked little Lola, the little droid. I liked Lola.
Yeah, that was a cool droid. Are we going to see more of Lola, do you think?
If they can fix her. She got stomped on. She got curb stomped.
Was that C-3PO we saw at the banquet?
Had to be, right?
I think so too. We have Jimmy Smits back. Love him. Always love Jimmy Smits. Glad to have him back.
They needed to give him a little better CGI treatment to de-ageify him.
You think they de-aged him?
No, I said they needed to.
Oh, I think it's fine. It's 10. Well, I mean, Rogue One. Well,
it's fine.
He does look older than he did in Rogue One. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
It's fine.
Let's see. Was there anything else on Alderaan before the capture?
I thought it was interesting that the relationship between Leia and her mother, adoptive mother, I couldn't tell if they were trying to make us feel like it was strained or not.
I don't know that I got that sense.
Okay. It was very subtle to me that it was like the mother seemed to mostly be frustrated with Leia in most of the scenes. But it wasn't ever like outright contempt or like that she mistreated her. It just was like this exasperation, it seemed like, all the time. Whereas Jimmy Smits was more of like...
Isn't that true with most mother-daughter relationships? It's a little strained.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, no, I'm just saying.
I'm not a mother or a daughter, so I guess I,
Nor am I. This is the dads of Dagobah.
That's right.
Not the mothers of Mandalore. That's a great idea. We should get our wives to do Mothers of Mandalore. We get to the infamous chase scene. We've seen the memes for 2 days now. I'll be honest. It was rough.
Listen, you and I watched it on Thursday night.
Yes.
When it dropped at 11 p.m. Central. I started watching it like 11:45 Central, and I was texting you my live reaction while
so
I
we
was
pull it up.
watching.
You said, what'd you say there?
At exactly that moment when the chasing happens, I just did caps lock, LOL, what? Question mark.
Super goofy sequence.
Super goofy sequence. Like, it just was weird. I'm like, this is the worst chase scene I've ever seen in my life.
I've had, in the days thinking about it, I don't know. It doesn't look like it was shot in the volume. I think they filmed it on location somewhere. I don't know where, but I definitely don't think it was the volume. Because that was kind of the problem with the Book of Boba Fett, the Vespa chase scene, with those people on those multicolored bikes, was because it was filmed in the volume, they're kind of constrained to the space allowed and, the technology there. But this had the same slow kind of janky feel, but I think it was filmed on location. And so then I got thinking, well, why does it look so bad then? And it's just the adults are inept. And that didn't, have tree branches in the way, and they're just like, ugh, darn it, a branch. And I'm like, what? And then like she's like a foot away from someone, and they're like, ha! And she like sidesteps them. And I'm like, what? Anyway.
Yeah. My gut reaction when I was watching it was they're being juked out by this 10-year-old, and if any of them just did any type of lunge at her, they would have gotten her. But they were like foiled by a very thin tree branch blocking the path, or a tree in front of them, and they couldn't sidestep that tree. They're just like, oh, there's a tree in the way. Like, it just was very strange. It was just goofy. I couldn't think of another word other than goofy.
I think it was my brother asked me, do you think she used the Force in any of those sequences? Or do you think that was just kind of us thinking? Because like when, I don't know, I was kind of thinking maybe they'd show us something, but that would be kind of contradictory of what we know about Leia and the Force, right?
Yeah, I don't think they would have overtly shown us anything, because I don't think at this age her or Luke are probably conscious of their connection to the Force.
Yeah.
Like, even in A New Hope, Luke it acts as if he has no idea what the Force is, or I feel like he would have said something like, oh, this explains so much about my childhood, how I could move things with my mind.
I thought maybe they would pull like a Harry Potter at the zoo in book 1, where like he does weird things, and he doesn't know, oh, that's not normal for people, sort of thing.
Right.
Anyway.
I don't think that's the case.
Okay. Well, anyway, she gets captured, and we find out that it's the Inquisitors I guess it's not the Inquisitors, it's Revan herself, the third sister, who asked these bounty hunters to catch her.
Okay, it's not Revan, it's Reva. There's no N.
I've been saying it wrong the whole time. Reva, yes, you're right. My bad.
Because Revan is the Knights of the Old Republic video game character.
Yeah, you're right.
Just FYI.
Yeah, Mos Espa, Mos Eisley, whatever, same thing.
The Mos Vespa's chase scene better than the Obi-Wan chase scene.
And they take her to the planet
Daiyu.
Not
to be confused with Daimyo of Tatooine.
Yes, the Daimyo.
Everything is too close. They get a whole galaxy of names, and they're just so close to all the similarities in these names.
And I mean, before we get to that planet, we have Bail Organa coming to Tatooine, or I guess at first sending a message via hologram to Obi-Wan. First of all, how long do those batteries last in those things? 'Cause that thing was in that box for 10 years.
Yeah.
And kind of reminiscent of Leia talking to Obi-Wan in A New Hope, right? We need your help. We know you're out there in Tatooine watching over Luke, but Leia's part of this too, and you need to go help her, right? You're the only person we can trust.
I don't know if it was in this hologram call or later when Bail comes to Tatooine, which I have some thoughts on anyway. But and in one of those conversations, he makes the comment about like, she's just as important as he is, meaning Leia is just as important as Luke. And I think I've seen a lot of positive comments about that line online about how, finally some validation that the original trilogy, mainly because in episode 4, George Lucas had not planned for them to be twins, but it's very much Luke's story. And Leia is kind of a sidekick character, and Alderaan just blew up, but the meme on the Millennium Falcon of like, he's all, mopey, and she's like consoling him after her planet was just completely wiped out, mass genocide.
Yeah.
And, he's moping around about Obi-Wan
A guy
just
he
died.
just met a few days ago.
So it's very much a story about Luke, and like Luke's the important one and he's the chosen one type archetype character. Because George Lucas never could have imagined it was going to morph into a 45-year expanded universe. And so this is like a good way to show like, yeah, that would make way more sense. That if Luke had a twin, it wouldn't just be, well, we'll just focus on Luke. Like Leia would be equally important.
Right.
To protect her and to make sure that she was raised to adulthood.
While you were speaking, I'm going back to my previous point about her and the Force. Obi-Wan mentioned I don't think we talked about this on Friday, the showing. Have we heard that phrase before, showing before? About someone showing the Force?
I don't know. It's a good question.
That was something interesting. And, if I wonder what they're looking for. Is Obi-Wan, is that why he's watching to see if Luke is starting to show Force abilities?
Maybe. We kind of talked about this Friday night, but I still kind of am confused at Obi-Wan's attitude of the time of the Jedi is over. We lost. Go bury your lightsaber and just live a normal life. And then telling Uncle Owen, we've talked about this. We've got to train him. Like, why are we training him if the time of the Jedi, like, what are you talking about?
Why is Luke and / Leia the only hope?
Right.
If there are still Jedi that are coming up to you saying, hey, I'm here, let's do this.
Right. And especially if in part 1, the first episode of the series, we are led to believe that Obi-Wan does not know that Anakin / Lord Vader is still alive, then why is Luke, first of all, why is Obi-Wan thinking Luke's the only one that's going to be trained? What about Leia? But all the other Jedi that he finds or runs into, he's like, no, give up, it's over. So that's like kind of a weird, I don't get that. I'm not sure that was fully thought out.
Yeah, I don't know either. It doesn't, obviously it makes sense in 1977 when there were literally no other Jedi, right? But now we have all these backstories. We have all these other Jedi, right?
Right. I mean, Cal Kestis should be making his debut any day now.
Right. And Kanan, he's still around right now, and Ahsoka, and Ezra somewhere, not around quite yet, but he's there. We have tons of Jedi.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, he get back to the plot. So he gets the hologram message. What's interesting is that Obi-Wan's like, no, sorry. Like, I'm not doing it. So they did a good job in that first episode of showing just how kind of broken he is from the trauma of the events of episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Mm-hmm.
Like that he's just like, no, like it's over.
I mean, according to Obi-Wan, he killed his best friend, his brother, left him for dead. I mean, he thinks he's dead. Cut him in half, cut him 3 ways,
I think that he also, Right. I think that he also, and we see some of this in part 2 as well, I think he feels a little bit of insecurity about his own abilities because he has been, I assume he's kind of cut himself off from the Force,
Yeah,
to some
definitely seems like
extent,
that. Yeah.
to stay hidden, and so, he's he's I think this is one of the things I texted you during when I was watching part 2. He seemed a little rusty, obviously. Um, and so that might be part of it too, that he's telling Bale, like, hire a bounty hunter. Like, I'm not who I was 10 years ago. Like, I can't do this. Like, I wouldn't be successful at doing this.
Right.
I think that's a part of it too.
So what is it that eventually gets Obi-Wan off Tatooine?
Well, one, I think it is, that Bale physically comes to Tatooine.
Mm-hmm.
The other is, I think he sees that Jedi that he talked to, like, hung up in the streets,
Mm-hmm.
Presumably dead and executed. And so he sees, like, okay, I think that was kind of a trigger for him, but I mostly think it was Bale coming to Tatooine, and maybe one of those lines about, like, she's just as important as he is. This is Anakin and Padme's daughter. And you're here, diligently, your entire life purpose is protecting Padme and Anakin's son. Why wouldn't you have that same vigilance and diligence for their daughter?
Yeah, I like that. Are we going to go back to Tatooine, you think, in this show?
I think we will. I don't know. I think it'll be probably.
I guess the real question is, are we going to see Uncle Owen again? Because he was fantastic. I want to see more of him.
He really was, and I can't believe that they announced, the actress that played Beru in episode 3. She was announced in the cast for this, and I'm like, was that the only on-screen time she got? Was when looking from afar?
Yeah, there's no way.
I would assume that they're gonna play a larger role, and I'd also be surprised, Leia having such a prominent role in the plot and, like, lots of screen time and dialogue and stuff. I'm like, I assume we're gonna hear something from Luke, right? Or is it only gonna be far off observances?
I saw someone tweet they think it's perfect how Anakin's son and daughter, one of them is piloting a starship and the other one is naming them as they fly by. Like, they both are very obsessed. I thought that was an interesting choice for Leia, because I was like, is that just something fun for us to just kind of know about her being the daughter of Anakin? Because we don't see anything like that in any of the other movies. Now, I don't care. It's not like, oh, now wait a second, she doesn't know she doesn't talk about starships in the original trilogy. But I just was like, there's something I missed in the original trilogy they're calling back to.
Well, and this is something that, yeah, I agree with you.
You arrived in that thing? You're braver than I thought. Like, is that the
Yeah, when she was naming them off, I thought, okay, I thought it was more of a showing that she is aware of the larger galaxy. Like, like the daughter of a senator would know that ship is from that planet or that system, or that's,
Right.
this political faction, or those are pirates, or whatever. Bale is clearly training her up to know about the politics of the galaxy. But one of my questions is, and I'm sure there's many resources that I could look this up and a Star Wars fan would know it, and I don't know it. What is this political system on Alderaan? Bale is the senator, and why is she a princess? And is this, like, is his status as a senator also like the ruler of the planet? Like, he's the king senator? He's a senator king? Or is he married to the royalty? Is the mom, like, descended of the royal family? And Bale's just, like, married into the family? I don't know why she's a princess. And also, is being a senator hereditary? a hereditary title on Alderaan. Because obviously Leia becomes a senator. Wait, does she become a senator for Alderaan or for something else later in life? See,
if you look back to my tweet from many years ago, is she the senator of a bunch of broken rocks in the void that was once Alderaan? What is she senator of?
Yeah.
This is what it says.
And is she only senator because her father was senator? And that is a hereditary title passed down?
During the waning decades of the Galactic Republic, it was ruled by Queen Brea Organa and represented in the Galactic Senate by her husband, Senator Bail Organa.
So the mom is the queen of Alderaan.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Among the few survivors of that disaster was Princess Leia Organa, adopted daughter of Bail and Brea Organa, and heiress to the royal house of Alderaan. So I just think it sounds like the queen and the senator got married.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah. Should we move on to episode 2?
Well, the last thing I wanted to talk about from the part 1, episode 1, was Obi-Wan having to go out in the desert. And how did he know where he buried those lightsabers?
Oh, I'm sure he used the Force.
If he buried those things 10 years ago, the sand has been shifting.
Don't get bogged down with the nitty-gritty.
He dug up a hole 15 inches deep. It was barely into the sand.
You're telling me some Jawas didn't find those?
No, I didn't have a problem with that, even though I was like unrealistic. Of all these space wizards and space opera things, I was like, that's the one thing that I'm like, excuse me, those would be much deeper in the sand, and he wouldn't be able to find those again. But it obviously was a little bit touching that he buried his lightsaber with Anakin's lightsaber.
Yeah. And also, can he be a little bit more discreet with the lightsaber on his hip? Man, that thing's just hanging there. Like, can you hide it, maybe?
And he looks like a Jedi. He's got his
all do.
He's going right back into his Jedi robes. I'm like, in a lineup, who do you think here is a Jedi? The guy in the Jedi robe with the lightsaber hanging from his belt? I'm going to choose that guy.
Or who looks like General Kenobi?
Seriously. All right, let us know in the comments down below. What have you thought of the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan? And
is it Revan or Reva?
It's definitely Reva. And how old do you think Leia is in this series? Does she look like a 10-year-old to you? And what episode do you think that we will see Obi-Wan finally ignite the lightsaber and do something significant?
Yeah, I agree.
All right, thanks for watching. Until next time, this is the way.
We have spoken.
And you've been spending time with the dads of Dagobah.
That's right. Now
see you later.
Bye.